minutes. We're going pro. I have to suck me gut in for the next 7 minutes. Okay. Now, if you thought those stories were terrifying, maybe you should leave the room now, because my story is even more terrifying than those stories. And it's probably the most terrifying aspect is the fact that it's true. Okay? The truth can be terrifying. Okay? For the people in the advanced class, they already realize that. Okay. My story happened when I was in school. I went to school as well. I wasn't born this old. I went to school as well. I went to a school, there was no girls in my school, just boys, because we were serious about our work. If you go to a school that has girls in it, what happens? There you go. You don't even know what happens. You just sit there going, oh, when somebody asks you a question. So there's no girls in my school. We're all very serious, all very macho in my school. Okay? Very masculine, very macho. Rugby here, football there. Yeah? Okay. One day I was sitting in a chemistry class. Okay? I did chemistry. I don't know why. I can't remember anything. Okay? I studied chemistry. And the teacher, his name was Mr. Doyle. Okay, his name was Aidan Doyle, but everybody called him Danny. Danny Doyle. I don't know why, but we never called it to his face. He was very serious. He was a very, very strict teacher. He was very effective. He got good results, but he wasn't a very nice man. So that was it. So I was in Mr. Doyle's chemistry class, and I was sitting there in the class, and he was explaining thermodynamics. And he's explaining, and he's explaining, he's explaining, and we were copying down. What's this? Whatever, writing all of this down. And I was feeling very sleepy. Okay, you know in school sometimes you're tired, you cannot stay awake. You know that feeling? Yeah, you do. Don't lie, of course you do. Janice, you know that feeling when you're going to fall asleep, no? No. Good man, well done. Okay, so anyway, unlike Janice, I get tired sometimes, and I was just getting tired in the class, and I thought, this is terrible. So I said, Mr. Doyle, can I go to the toilet, please? And he said, what? Yes, go, go. So I went, and I went to the bathroom, and I put some water on my face to make myself fresh, etc. Okay? So I went back to the class, and I sat down, and in the middle of my book, there was a small piece of paper, folded over. And I looked, what's this piece of paper? So I opened it up, and it said, never again. Just that, never again. You understand? Never again? Yeah? Remember the time you broke the window at home, your daddy said, never again? You remember that? Okay. So I was looking at this paper. What's this never again? There was nothing else. I looked at the back. Nothing else. I looked at my friends. Is it some message? But nobody was looking at me, so I don't know. Everybody was working. Mr. Doyle was explaining thermodynamics. Okay, never again. Did I forget something? Is it a book? Is it a film? Is there something I'm meant to remember? Have I forgotten something? So I put the paper in my pocket, and I was copying down thermodynamics, but I'm thinking, what's this never again? So anyway, the class finished, and I was going home. I was walking home, and usually it takes 20 minutes. It took 20 minutes for me to walk home. Okay, I was walking up the road. Now the weather was terrible. Yeah, a nice Irish day. The weather was absolutely terrible. It was almost dark, because it gets dark very early. Very cloudy. The rain, the typical Irish rain, was falling like this. You remember that from Ireland, yeah? So I was going home, and I just kept thinking, what's this never again? It started to annoy me. You know when there's something that you can't understand, it starts to annoy you. So I was walking home. And I turned onto my street, and all of the street lights were out. They weren't working. Okay? But I don't care, because I was macho. I went to the school with no girls. We were all macho, so I was walking home like this, no problem. And I'm thinking, never again. Never again. You know, trying to think of this. And across the road, I saw Mr. O'Connell, old Mr. O'Connell. He was born 80 years old, yeah? He was really old, and he was walking down the other side of the road. And we were walking along, and I saw him. Mr. O'Connell, hello? And he looked up at me. And he kept walking like this. But as he kept walking, his head followed me. Yeah? You know that effect, where he kept walking, and his head followed me, and his head turned all the way around. Freaky thing to see. Old Mr. O'Connell with his head backwards. And he looks at me, and he says, never again. And I go, yeah? But it's okay. because I was macho. I went to a school with no girls. So I just kept walking, a bit faster, yeah, I kept walking, and I look back and there's Mr. O'Connell with his head backwards, never again, yeah. So I kept walking, and in one of the houses, there was a woman upstairs in one of the windows, and I think she was closing the curtains, and she saw me, and she looked at me like that. And I couldn't hear her, she was inside, I couldn't hear her, but I saw her mouth say, and I thought, oh, and I kept walking a little bit faster. I didn't run, macho, no girls, yeah. But I'm walking very, very fast, not running, just walking very, very, very quickly, okay? I was walking very quickly. The dog came forward, okay? Scotty from around the corner. And, hey Scotty, come here. And Scotty went, oh, never again, you know? So I just panicked and I started running, okay? The dog starts saying, never again, I'm running. I was running. I ran across the road and a car nearly hit me. It was my neighbour, Mr. Kelly. He was going home. He said, do you want the lift? Get into the car. What's the problem? So I got into the car with Mr. Kelly and he turned on the radio. And on the radio, there's a song playing. Do you know that country and western song? The country song, Never Again. No? That song was playing on the radio. Never again. It's the only words. The only words in the song is never, never, never. Never again. And then Mr. Kelly looks at me. Never again, he said, yeah? And the car went up and bang, hit a tree. Okay? And like that, I woke up and I was sitting in my science class and Mr. Doyle was explaining thermodynamics on the board. It was all a dream. Now, you know when you wake up in class. Do you know that feeling, Claudia? Have you ever woken up in a class? Yeah, rubbish. Let's see. You've woken up in a class, yeah? Yeah, and you know you get a fright. Yeah, you get a fright and you're confused. And I woke up with this face and Mr. Doyle looked at me. He said, were you asleep in my class? And I said, yeah. And he looked at me like that. And he said, never again. Thank you very much.